Greetings and welcome to this episode of 4Point Pathways. Today, what I want to talk about is cloud migration, is the moving of your existing Adobe Experience Manager infrastructure, specifically the Forms infrastructure, but moving that infrastructure into a cloud environment. And I want to talk about two pieces of that. One is, what is the different cloud options that you have? And the second are, what are the considerations you need to think about when you move to the cloud? What are the things that are going to catch you? What do you have to prepare ahead of time? What do you have to worry about and think about? So first is, as I want to talk about the different kinds of cloud infrastructures that you can move to, the different options you have. So if we start with what many of you have today, which is what we classify as an on-premise installation. You bought the Adobe licenses, you built the applications around it, and you put them on servers that you're managing and controlling in your data center, in your server environments, whatever it happens to be. So how do you move that? Well, the first place that you can consider moving that is into what we consider a customer or internal cloud environment. And that would be something that you manage, your IT department manages, that you own and control inside of Microsoft or inside of Amazon, inside of AWS or inside of Azure, or any other cloud hosting environment that you want to use. And that lets you take the environment that you have on your local systems, move it into cloud-based systems, gain the advantages of scalability, gain the advantages of cloud services associated with that. Administration, it puts it all in the same place with all your other stuff. So that's a really good way of doing it. The second scenario you have is two different kinds of services hosted by Adobe. So you can move your on-prem environment into what's called Adobe Managed Services. And this is very similar to if you put it into AWS or Azure yourself. But in this case, Adobe's managing that infrastructure. Adobe's managing that infrastructure on your behalf. And they're putting the services up there that you need, but they're worrying about all of the different connections and scalability and all of those kinds of things. And that's a good option for organizations that don't have their own cloud environment, don't want to set that up, and want somebody else to manage it for them, because it gives you a lot of flexibility, gives you a lot of power. You can put a lot of different pieces in place there. The third option is the Adobe Experience Manager as a cloud service. And what this is effectively a platform as a service where Adobe is running the instance for you, they're scaling it for you, and they're taking care of a lot of the different elements that need to be taken care of inside of your operating environment. And you can move your stuff up there. So there's a lot that you don't have to think about. But in that case, Adobe's running it. They're managing the upgrades. They're managing all sorts of other aspects of it, but you still need to manage testing in your application and those kinds of things. And there are advantages and disadvantages all the way through on the continuum associated with it. So if you put it up in your own cloud environment, you maintain control of it. You can handle all privacy-related issues, all regardless of what they are, all compliance and regulatory issues. You have absolute control of it. You can decide whether or not you're going to scale it up or scale it down. You're managing all the costs associated with it. But you're also then managing all the upgrades. You're managing all the service patches. You're managing maintenance of it. You're managing integration with all the other pieces. You're taking care of all of that. Effectively, that's an on-prem installation, but done in virtual machines in your cloud environment. So that's good when you want absolute control over it. And for some organizations, that is absolutely the only way that you can do it. You have to do it that way because you just can't do it in another cloud environment. And both Microsoft and Amazon and other cloud providers have very sophisticated service level agreements to support that, to manage that, all of those kinds of stuff. So that's one aspect of it. It gives you a lot of control, but you are managing it. Adobe Managed Services is good because it gives you a good level of control. It still has a lot of characteristics associated with a standard installation, and Adobe's managing it for you. but you still need to worry about ensuring that it's up to date. You still need to ensure that you have all the right pieces in place. And interconnections, and we'll talk about connections and integrations later on as one of the things you need to think about. Those could be tricky. How are you integrating the applications that you've created in Adobe Experience Manager Forms? How are you linking those back to your other cloud environments or your other services or wherever those might reside? And if those reside on existing on-prem environments or inside of your cloud environment, those interconnections could be tricky. Right? So that's something you need to think about as you do that. But if it's an isolated scenario, if it's a local application, that might work perfectly for you. The third option is the as a cloud service. In the as a cloud service, Adobe takes on a lot of the responsibility. So you never have to worry about it being updated. It will always be current. Well, that's important. It will always be current, which means that if you're not current right now, and we're going to talk about versions in a second, then your application needs to be retested every time they do things. Now, there's automated mechanisms for that, but that may be an issue. The other piece is that it didn't provide all the levels of functionality you may require. So not all the features in an on-prem installation may exist in a cloud service. Over time, they will probably get there, but not all of them are available there today. So the question is does cloud service give you everything you need to run your application in the cloud? And if not, what are the options associated with it? The other piece is the data integration piece. So those are the three different options you have when you're thinking about a cloud migration. And some of them will be obvious, some of them will be mandated. And in other cases, it'll be then a trade-off of cost benefits. The next piece I want to talk about, though, is what you should be thinking about as you move to the cloud. And there's really two major areas with a bunch of interconnections. So the two major areas are the existing environment that you've got today and what it needs to look like as you move to these different cloud environments, right? What features are supported. And the second is the integrations. How the applications that you have talk to other systems, specifically data systems that you're pulling to merge the data into the documents that you're creating, that you're gathering data from the online documents and pushing it into other systems, those integrations. And they could be integrations with other things like digital signatures and stuff like that. So the signature, the integrations are an absolutely critical part of this. So let's talk first about what you need to do in order to migrate your on-prem forms applications into a cloud that you own. Well, the short answer is set up the cloud and migrate. You effectively, it's like an on-prem, but you control it and you're putting it in a cloud. So you can go and install an older version if that's what you need to support your environment. We do not recommend that. We always recommend that you are on the most current version and the most current service pack. But if you're not there yet, you're not there yet. So that gives you time. The other piece is that allows you to put whatever services you need. You need document security, you put that on there. You need PDF Gen, you put that on there. So you get to set that environment up the way that you want to, and you're in full control of it, all right? If you go to Adobe Managed Services, you get a lot of that flexibility, but some of it comes at a cost, and not all of it is easily accessible. So for example, Adobe Managed Services and Adobe Cloud Services want you to be on OSGI. If you are a Java J2E environment right now, then they want you to migrate to OSGI. In Adobe Managed Services, it's possible to get a dispensation for the J2E stuff, but it's costly. It adds money to it. So if you're on OSGI, then it's a standard deployment for them. Certain other services require extra pieces associated with it. If you need added security because of privacy concerns, those are additional services that Adobe Managed Services will put in place for you, additional capabilities. So all of that can then be extra things you need to think about. So you need to look at your application and go, what do I need? What does my application consist of? What are my privacy considerations? What are my data considerations? All of those. So you need to think about that. Cloud service gets even more restrictive. You must be on the latest version. You always be on the latest version, which means if you're not on the latest version now and not on the latest service pack, all right, you need to upgrade it to that before you go to cloud service. And you need to test all of your environment in that updated version before you go to cloud service to ensure that it's going to work in that environment. The other piece is not all of the services are available up there. So you need to investigate and ensure what services are available and do they address all of your requirements. And the final piece is the privacy and compliance, the regulatory compliance related aspects. If you have special regulatory compliances, the Adobe Cloud Service supports many of the standards associated with it, but you need to validate that it supports the specific standards that you care about in the specific ways that you want to care about. And that might be a regionally or geographically located servers in the right geographic region to satisfy your compliance requirements. It could be HIPAA compliance, or other financial privacy compliance, government-related compliance. So you need to investigate and understand exactly what they do because they're in total control of that environment. So they're going to set this and then they're going to provide that to you. And if it works, then you're in good shape. Now let's talk about data integrations. One of the challenges that a lot of organizations have is that in the applications that they've got today, they may have been built years ago. They may have been built without using what we would consider today modern standard API integrations. And if that's the case, then migrating those to a cloud environment, any cloud environment, may be a substantial challenge and needs to be very, very seriously investigated to understand how you're going to transition those. And examples of the integrations are when you're grabbing data to merge it into a form template so that you're producing a document with data merged into it. When you're capturing data and moving it into other systems, those are the integrations I'm talking about. But you're also talking about other integrations, digital signatures. How does it tie to a digital signature environment that you could be using with your forms? Also, how does it tie to customers and other applications? Are you embedding these forms in an adaptive form in another environment? Is it sites? Is it a different environment? Where is it hosted? All of those things become very important critical issues so that we're handling both the security aspects between all of the different pieces, but also that we're moving the data in efficient manners. Let me give you an example. A lot of applications were built 10 years ago and they used what we call the watch folder, and data would be put into the watch folder. The form solution would then look at the watch folder, go, oh, I got a piece of data. I'm going to grab that data. I'm going to grab the template. I'm going to make the document, whatever it is, invoice statement, order, whatever it is. I'm going to make that. The problem is that that doesn't translate efficiently into a cloud environment and may not work properly in a full cloud service. And the reason being is you don't have access to that server because that's a local server with a local file system. So how do you share that? How do you share that securely? Do you continue to use that? And the short answer is you shouldn't continue to use that. You should think about a way of migrating that to an official API. But that means even if you have an API, even if you build an API, and you can build an API that will do that, but now you have to change your application because the application was looking at a watch folder and now it's doing something different. And that may be customizations that changes your application. So you need to think about each of those. Even if it's a simple database read, is the database now located in the cloud, in the same environment in the cloud, in a different environment in the cloud? Is it different? Should you go with an API mechanism rather than a straight data access? All of those different kinds of pieces. And it gets really more complicated when you're now talking about reads and writes back and forth. Okay, how do you do that? A lot of standard applications, a lot of cloud services that you integrate with, whether it's something like Marketo or Campaign, or whether it's something like Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics, they all have standard APIs. So it's easy to do that, but you have to do that change to your application. And as you move up the chain, if you're in your environment, your cloud environment, well, you have a lot of control over that. So you can move those applications at the same time. Maybe that's part of this overall plan that you're putting in place. But if it's Adobe Managed Services, well, they're not going to host somebody else's application for them. So you need to think about the connections between those. And now those introduce security level issues associated with it, cross-origin related issues. How do we pass it all the way through to the customer so that the browser recognizes all of the different back-end pieces? How do we front-end it? So there's a lot of things to think about there. And then that gets even more important to think about when you talk about Forms as a cloud service, because those data integrations need to be really clean, really crisp, really controlled, and really distinct, because there's no environment up there. It's got to connect to some other kind of environment for that data, specifically the data that's inside your organization. So those are all the different pieces that you need to think about. You want to think about making sure that you're on the most recent upgrade. If you're not on the most current version, that's the first thing you need to start thinking about. You need to seriously think about migrating to OSGI. Java is still supported, but you're going to be limited in your longer term plans of moving to an Adobe cloud environment if you're not on OSGI. And OSGI is where all the features are being added, but it is a change. It is a distinct change from the way that the applications were built in the past. You need to think about data integrations, and you need to think about inter-application security and how those are going to be migrated over and what the implications of those are. So that's a broad overview of cloud migration, of the different things that you should be thinking about. There are some significant challenges, but there are some significant advantages to it. Lower cost of application support, simplified infrastructure maintenance, the ability to scale up and scale down the environment to handle peak transaction volumes or adjusting transaction volumes or changes in your business. You acquire a new business and suddenly your document volumes have doubled. Well, now the cloud service can scale up to handle that without you having to buy more infrastructure, to buy more hardware associated with it. So there's a lot of different advantages associated with it. It is definitely the direction that we see every organization going. What we want to ensure is that you've got an effective plan going forward, that you're thinking about it now, even though it might be something that you're doing later this year or next year. We want you to plan for it and think through all the things that have to go into it, because it's not just a simple lift and shift. There are other aspects to it. So thanks very much for listening. Really appreciate it. And I hope that you find valuable information in this. Thanks and take care.